Welcome, everyone, to the 24th episode of the 792 Florida Sports Podcast. I'm Hunter Williams, your host as always, joined once again for part two with Alan Zlotorzynski. Sorry, I messed it up. I tried so hard.
Yeah, you did. That's good enough, man. You did better than most.
All right. So we'll go ahead and hit on into it with some breaking news, I suppose, because I think it's the first time we can really say breaking news on here. Because it came in about 2 hours ago, right before we were planning to get on the show. The former Bishop Gorman head coach who led them to, in his 5 seasons of going 65-7 and winning 4 state titles, Kenny Sanchez is now going to be the head coach of Pedro Menendez over in St. Johns County. So we got a major hire by the Mendez program. They're over in 5A. Of course, we already went over 5A on last show, but this is big news that very well could change the entire fortunes of the 5A North race.
Yeah, there's no doubt this is a big hire. Now, obviously, we got a lot of questions, right? I mean, Sanchez leaves Bishop Gorman back in the middle of June, and he says he's leaving to explore more opportunities. Okay, well, look, this is not a knock against Pedro Menendez and the Falcons. I mean, look, they're 25-6 over the last 3 years. They've won 1 playoff game. I think they were 7-3 last year. 8-3. I don't think they made the playoffs last year. 8-3 the year before. So I guess my question first and foremost is, I would have for Sanchez is why Menendez. Is my first question for him. But, look, if the intentions here are to build Menendez into a powerhouse that he and his brother did out in Nevada and what they did in California. Remember, they took jobs in California years ago. They wanted to take down De La Salle as well. But they go to Nevada. His brother, and he was the defensive coordinator for his brother who ends up going to UNLV. Throughout the course of time, for the last 10 years, Bishop Gorman, 10 straight state championships. In fact, last year, when they fell to Liberty in the playoffs, it was the first time Bishop Gorman had lost, if I remember this correctly, and if I don't, please, I apologize. It was the first time that Bishop Gorman had lost to a team from the state of Nevada, 2008. You're talking 11 years. He was 65-7. Kenny Sanchez was the head coach at Bishop Gorman with 4 state titles, and of course he won the 2 mythical USA Today back-to-back national championships as well. They also won one in 2014 when his brother was there the last year for his brother. But look, this is a great hire for Menendez. I mean, there is no doubt about it, because if it's one thing that Sanchez knows how to do, it is to build football programs into not just state powerhouses, but national powerhouses. When you're talking about high school sports, any coach worth their salt in any sport will tell you there are 3 levels of good. Okay, there's county good, all right? Then there's state good. Then there's national good. So everywhere that he has been coaching the football team, they have exceeded expectations at all 3 of those levels. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, at Menendez.
For sure. And I will say this, St. Johns County, that's not a poor county. That demographic in that county, especially with most of the areas like Barton Trail or Ponte Vedra, these are very rich areas. So obviously there's going to be resources there if they start winning. And in addition to that, you're very close to Duval County. You're very close to Clay County. You got a lot of talent you could pull from both those areas. And if they start seeing success, you'll see players from those counties transferring to Mendez. And you could see them easily turn into a state powerhouse practically overnight if they start pulling in that level of talent. Because when you look at the Jacksonville area, especially right now, there really isn't like a true powerhouse right now. Trinity Christian is up and down. They seem to struggle a bit last year. when they had to step up to facing what was basically a national caliber schedule. And yeah, they're a very good 3A team, but I don't know if they necessarily how you would compare them to when you start comparing to the top 10 ranked teams in Florida or top 50 in the nation. They're just most of the time they're going to be outmatched in that. University Christian's the same way. They're a 2A school. They're decent, but obviously they're not going to have the depth to be a major powerhouse. Then you look at Bowles. They haven't been a national powerhouse in close to 20 years. So when you look at Jackson and the Publics, they're inconsistent. So when you look at it, Mendez has all the they could eat if they start winning. It's not going to be hard to for players in the Duval County to want to transfer over, because it's not like they're going to be having to run away from a known commodity to be able to go to Mendez, because the teams they're playing at aren't really known commodities themselves.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, and, I'm not, but if I were, I'd say that Vincent has one goal in mind. When you think of Florida's 5A, Miami has owned it. They've owned it. Absolutely owned it. And, you have to think that it's his goal to take that trophy away from the south part of the state and bring it to the north part of the state. And, look, that's a tall task, because some of the best football teams in the country play in 5A in South Florida. So he's got a tall task in hand, and to hire a guy like that, two things come with him. A big paycheck. He didn't come cheap, I promise you that. And the second thing is winning. How fast, how far, is yet to be determined. But again, I would think that his goal is to take that stranglehold that South Florida has on 5A away.
For sure. And speaking of South Florida, when I look at also with 4A is so bloody loaded at in South Florida. But I did notice a big transfer move since our last show. The 5-star offensive lineman Julian Armella, who was at Aquinas, transferred to Gulliver Prep. He is now at Columbus. He transferred over there back on the 22nd, which would have been, I believe, Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least I saw that shortly after a day after we recorded the first episode.
Yeah, it happens. It's strange when it happens, when you see Aquinas lose players for transfer purposes. It can happen, and it did happen in this particular point, and that's a huge get. No pun intended, by the way, because this is a big boy. He's a big, he is huge. So this will hurt St. Thomas.
Yeah, it's definitely Columbus has got the talent. If they still had that running back they had last year going to this year, I would say without a doubt that they would be the 8A favorite. And they're still going to be a contender, obviously. But that really just made the battle between them and Palmetto a very good one to see, because you might be looking at two teams that, by postseason, if we have one, of course, which we'll get to later in the show, could be potentially top 10 teams in Florida right there with Palmetto and Columbus.
Yep.
In terms of 4A, I see two teams in North bracket in general, one from North and one for Central Florida. Cocoa and Bowes, obviously. I guess you can keep an eye on someone like Bradford as a sleeper. I keep hearing that name, South Sumter. But when I look at the South, it's that 4A4 that obviously grabs the attention. Cardinal Gibbons, Gulliver Prep, Carroll City, defending champions, Miami Washington. And then, of course, in that same region, Monsignor Pace University School. So 4A South is loaded, but early on I was thinking Gulliver Prep was actually going to be my pick, but with that transfer loss they just lost with that 5-star, I'm actually leaning back to the defending champs repeating at this point.
Where, 4A?
Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, I was going to say, last year, Booker T, I really felt like last year that we were going to see, and I think it's the showdown we're going to see this year. I think we're going to see Coco and Booker T at it again. For 5 years, Booker T and Coco went head-to-head every year in the regional final, and all but one of those in 2017 did Booker T. Coco won one of those 5. But to me, I think 4A comes down to Booker T and Coco, and I like Coco's chances this year. And I say that from, yes, a homer perspective because I'm here in Brevard County, but let me explain a little bit real quick. Coco has 3 players, and this is something to keep an eye on because, and we're going to touch on this coming up, COVID is going to play a big effect on what happens up north for high school football. I believe you're going to see, we've already seen one team in Florida cancel their season, okay? So, you're going to see an abundance of northern high schools cancel football seasons this year, especially in some of your bigger cities like Baltimore, New York, Philadelphia, places like that. Baltimore has some really good high school football teams up that way. But those players are, they still need to play. Coco's picked up 3 transfers coming in from out of state up north. 1 player's coming in from Canada that's going to play. So they pick up 3 transfers. Keep your eye on the incoming senior quarterback, DJ Arroyo. He's been a starter for Ryan Schneider since his sophomore season when he broke, passing record after passing record as a sophomore at a school that had already won 4 state championships. So, I like Coco's chances this year. They're loaded at the wide receiver position. They're loaded. They got a new defensive coordinator in Matt Diesel, who comes over from Space Coast. The Diesel name here in Brevard County is synonymous with great defensive football. For me this year, I like Coco and Booker T in that state final.
I could definitely see that. In 3A, 3A North teams I would say to watch, obviously, Pensacola Catholic will be solid again. Florida High should be solid. Trinity Christian should be a very good team as well. But the team that I'm thinking comes out of the 3A North at this point, Trinity Catholic. The reason being, I looked at their roster, 270, like their one offensive lineman is 270. They have 2 more offensive linemen over 300. Both of whom over 6'5". This is going to be a big offensive line. They also have a 3-star running back to go along with that. This senior class for Trinity Catholic, I could see this being a type of team that they're going to bruise through a lot of the 3A North competition. And the one thing I did notice with Trinity Christian that they seem to struggle with most years is I saw it a bit personally with when Columbia played them last year. They're very one-dimensional. And sometimes they lack discipline. They always try to run it a lot. They focus on the run. They don't really try to get the passing game as involved as they probably should have. They don't really utilize it. And I could see Trinity Catholic, who also brings back John Bradley as their coach, who led them to a state title just 10 years ago for Trinity Catholic's most recent state title. I could see that coaching experience coming into play when they play. Not to mention, Trinity Catholic probably wasn't as good last year as they'll be this year, and they beat Trinity at home this past year in the opening round of the playoffs.
Yeah, for me, I think, and I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but I think it all, again, runs through Chaminade Donna. Again, I just do in 3A. I mean, if you look last year, I'm still trying to, and look, Jankowski always puts a great team on the field down at Vero Beach, but I'm still trying to figure out how they got beat 21-0 by Vero Beach last year. I just looked at this team, and I know they're going to be complete. They beat Carroll City lost to Carroll City last year, I should say, by 1 point. For me, I just think it runs through Chaminade Madonna, and I really believe that everybody else, look, this is 3A is good. I mean, it's a consistent